All right, Calvin, I'm taking a look now at your week 7 project. So you've written yours, it looks like, in MLA. This little bit of excess spacing here is a little bit extra there. That's not needed. It really should all be double spaced, but that's a minor thing, of course. All right, so this is your title. Your first sentence of every line should be tabbed in. So that's indentations missing. Again, minor things. These are just stuff that I'm just letting you know about, but they don't necessarily count against you or anything. So, just for future reference. Excuse me. All right. Just kind of reading, seeing what I see, and I'll point things out as I come across them. Your introduction sentence here looks good. You start with a question. That's not bad. Uh, Introduce the article. That's good. Give a little bit of information about what she's doing in the article. This paper argues that Pelosi communicates her core idea effectively since her clear examples and approachable advice make stress management strategies understandable and useful. Okay, good. That's pretty good introduction. So your topic's there. Your genre is there. Since you say it's argues, that tells me that you use words like shares up here and explains, which tells me it's informational. Argues is what you're talking about your own paper. So very good. Your genre is clear, not only about the topic, but about your own genre. So that's good. Purpose. Yeah. Purpose is covered there in the introduction. Audience. Your audience is clearly delineated here by college students and working professionals. So that's all clear. Historical cultural context. Not really seeing that here. So I'm not really seeing the historical context, unfortunately. Of course, that's not a terrible lot of points, so it's not going to hurt you that bad if that's the only thing there. All right, let's see. Your core idea is there in the thesis statement. So let's see about your thesis, or not thesis, about your details and evidence. That's what I start looking for once I get to the body of your paper. So let's see. So now you do have some details here, but you just, at the end here, you just kind of throw her, forgive me for putting it this way, but you kind of slap on the citation here at the end of the whole paragraph. And what that does, the reason why you don't ever want to do that is because that makes it look like the entire paragraph is from Pelosi, and so it makes me, your audience, wonder, well, is any of this your own thinking, or is this all from Pelosi, right? So you don't want to leave your audience thinking that you've basically just let Pelosi write your paper for you, your whole paragraph. So what you do is you just make sure that you only cite uh, her where you're specifically uh, pointing her out, pointing out something she said. Now, that's what you did here at the end, because you just say, for instance, but it's always good to make sure you follow up a citation, a source citation like this. It's always good to make sure you follow that up with your voice as well. So it's not hard for me to tell that this is just for this one source. Um, and also don't forget to add page numbers in here. So it should say Pelosi and then a page and then a number for the page number. Um, but your voice, it's called the hamburger method. And the hamburger method, it should be, basically says your voice should come before and after your source material. Like a hamburger has a top bun, which would be your introductory point here, right here. And then the meat of the sandwich is the source material. And then your voice comes in again underneath that, which is the bottom bun. right? That's called the hammer method. So that's something to remember for future reference too. It's not a terrible big deal here, but you want to make sure you can think about that for future reference and future writing assignments that you may have to do later on in other classes, other courses. All right. So you do have details. You do have your evidence. Everything's good. Um, it's going on a little longer than it probably really needed to, but that's okay. I'd rather see it better be a little too long than not long enough, right? Um, where is your conclusion? Okay, there it is. So, um, all right. So it looks like you've done a very good job here. Um, with your part one. You fixed it up real good, and this looks good, and you got your works cited page there, so very good. All right, part two for a new audience. Let's see. Okay, you don't really talk about the new audience. Well, you do, but this isn't really the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have taken this same you're supposed to have taken this same paper up here and just reworded it so that it would be more fitting for your second new audience, different audience. But what you're doing here is you're just basically telling me about the new audience, which is actually okay for that part, but then you should have went on to provide the actual second draft, and you don't really have a second draft here. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a big issue there. Um, you talk about the audience needs and situation, but you do it in too much of a matter of fact way, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about here. If I bring up the sample, and you can see here in the sample, part one, and then part two is the new audience introduction right here, right? And that's just a paragraph. And then the second version, notice it starts the same way. By 2030, entire knowledge industries might be overtaken by AI, blah, blah, blah. And then but then it goes on to talk about the different group of people, right? Fast food and fry cooks and cashiers, wait staff. So it introduces who the new audience is, and it's basically the same essay as part one. It's just reworded so that it fits the different second audience. So you needed to have had another whole paragraph, another whole version of that essay, and then instead of just answering the prompts, the answering these. So that's really what you've done here is and you did it to some degree in the first part, but it wasn't as bad as here. This is really all you're doing here is just saying, okay, my new audience is this, my needs are that, the writing situation is this, and that's something that is not what is expected for the part two. So I still kind of got to give you partial. Because you are doing some of this stuff, just not doing it the right way. The writing style that's going to be zero though, because again, you didn't really do it. The writing itself is not done at all. Conventions are also messed up by that because you're not doing it per the right kind of paper. It's not an actual essay there. Communication, your communication itself is okay. Citations are okay. You're just missing the page numbers in them. So that's definitely, unfortunately, has definitely affected your final grade on this. But C's not terrible. C's still good. So hopefully that maybe won't affect your overall grade too bad. But that is it. That is my evaluation of it. And so be sure to let me know if you have any questions or anything. And that will do it for this video.